Good afternoon, everybody. I believe that I'm live. I'm just going to pull you up on my phone so I can see all your comments. Welcome to the Threshold Summit. Okay, there I am. Awesome. Okay, cool. All righty, just turn that down so that I'm not getting any comments, and I'm going to pop this up here. Well, hello. I'm actually so thrilled to be officially kicking off the Threshold Summit today. Was not intending to be this way. However, there you go. There you have it. I'm so excited. This has been an amazing, incredible project to facilitate the Threshold Summit. And obviously, for those of you who don't know who I am, hello, my name is Tarsh Ashwin. I am the CEO and founder of Ashwin Publishing and the spearhead mastermind, I suppose, the facilitator, the guide behind the Threshold book. It's been my fingers pulling the strings together and supporting my authors to do what they've done over this amazing last 6 months together, which is write and publish a phenomenal book, Threshold Stories of Initiation. I trust that you have bought your Kindle copy, started reading some of the chapters. If you haven't, you can go on Amazon as well, because the paper is now live, which is super exciting. I'm going to be dropping in some of the links after this session as well. So for those of you who've said, I love reading books, I want to buy a hard copy, where can I do that? We know that it's been a few weeks since our launch, so that's very exciting. Our paperback is officially ready. And I'm so excited, as I mentioned before, to kick off officially the Threshold Summit. So the summit is going to be your opportunity to learn from our authors. There'll be over 10 hours of amazing, high quality, transformational, free workshops and masterclasses, which is super exciting, over the next 4 days. And all of these masterclasses and workshops will be facilitated by our amazing authors. So our authors, we've got some wonderful professionals from midwives, naturopaths, transformational coaches, business coaches, Reiki masters, yoga teachers, a whole variety of amazing women and amazing professionals who truly do phenomenally transformational work in their business. So I'm so excited for you to be here over the coming week. It's going to be amazing. Please engage with us. Please ask your questions. We all really love to respond to you and to your energy. So I highly encourage you to do that. Please don't be a wallflower, because the more you put in, the more our people, our authors and facilitators will be able to respond to you, to your unique energetics. So I'm excited today to be talking to you all about unveiling your sacred story, empowering entrepreneurial growth through storytelling. I have some notes. I will be looking over to the side, so I stay to my 60-minute time frame and don't kick over into any longer. And yeah, as the CEO of a publishing company and a business strategist, I work with soulful entrepreneurs. So I consider a soulful entrepreneur as someone who truly believes that they do their soul's work in their business, that the work they do is a core representation of the reason why they are here on the planet in this lifetime. If that's you, listen up, because I'm going to be speaking directly to you for the next 55 minutes. Hello, Rachel, my love. Great to see you here. And I work with these entrepreneurs primarily because that's me. I 100% will put my hand up and say, the work I do in my business is so deeply connected to my soul's work and to what I'm here to do on the planet in this lifetime. I wholeheartedly believe that. And I'm an absolute stand for conscious entrepreneurs to get their message and their transformational work out there, right? Because the world needs liberation and we need to be catalysts for transformation. And I believe that's what we are. If we are a soulful entrepreneur, we are a catalyst for the transformation and liberation of humanity on the planet. Now, I know that sounds like a big statement, but I wholeheartedly believe that. I work with a lot of amazing transformational mentors, healers, psychics, people who actively get in there with their clients and help them do the big, powerful, life-changing work. That is of looking at their shadow, of, healing their trauma, of integrating their inner child, of actively calling forth the life that they desire, of releasing the blocks in their mind so that they can live the life that is calling them, right? And for so many generations, we have been told how to live. We've been told how to think. We've been told what's right, what's wrong, what's appropriate, what's unacceptable. And I believe at this stage in the game, at this stage in the timeline, we are here to completely do things in a different way. So that's a little bit about me and what I believe in, what my mission and movement is all about. And why I'm talking about storytelling today is because I believe that storytelling, if you're in business, if you run a enterprise, or if you are an entrepreneur, then potentially storytelling is an aspect of your marketing that you are not fully harnessing. And I'm going to share a lot about this today because as a storyteller, as a publisher, as a writer and a speaker, and someone who loves to communicate, you are your best marketing tool. You, right? You. Warts and all, quirks and all, you unleashed is your best marketing strategy. And the reason why I'm going to be sharing more about this is because when the world that we live in at the moment, right, the marketplace that we are currently doing business inside of is very busy, is very overloaded. It sometimes feels a bit like the, especially the online space feels a bit like the online sea of sameness, right? Where everyone is out there championing their wares and vying for attention, vying for money, pushing their stuff out there in the world. I believe in connection-based business development and connection-based business growth, right? I believe that business steeped in connection actually has so much more of an impact on the planet. And it's actually more graceful to build a business that is steeped in connection. Now, what do I mean by graceful? When I think about the word graceful, it's a word I've been using a lot lately. And grace, what is grace? Grace, I believe, is to be moved by the grace of God, to be moved by the grace of the divine, to have the divine move through you, right? And in soulful business, when we are out there doing soul work, that's the energy that we want to be cultivating, right? Where we are being moved by the grace of God, or moved by the grace of the universe, or moved by the grace of the divine. And so the more we can surrender our ego and our mind to actively allow that process to happen, the more people feel us energetically. They feel our heart, they feel the potency of our magnetism, and they fully get behind our mission and our movement and what it is that we are here to facilitate. So there's a bit that we're going to delve into today, all around storytelling and, uncovering your most connected based marketing strategy. But at the end of the day, there's some really important foundationals, right? You need to know why you're in business. Why do you do what you do? Why do you get up time and time again, strap on the seatbelt of the entrepreneurial roller coaster, and actively take yourself through the big ups and the big downs of being in business? Why do you do that? What is driving you? What is the fuel that powers your entrepreneurial engine? Now, storytelling is a really key piece of what we're going to talk about today. But if you don't know the answer to that question, then you can be telling all sorts of different stories in your content and your marketing, but they won't be connected back to the same thread, right? So understanding the key piece, the key reason why you do what you do, what your mission is inside of your business, what the movement is that you are here to spearhead is essential. And I would always recommend that you start there. So I know we have a few people in the comments. First of all, please let us know. I want to hear, what is your business? Firstly, are you in business? Let me know. Secondly, what is your business? What do you do? And thirdly, why do you do it? Now, if you get frozen to that, you're like, oh, I do what I do. Just trust it. Allow yourself to simply write whatever's going to come through. But I want to hear that. I want to read that in the comments, because your mission and your movement are absolutely essential, right? For you to be able to communicate inside of your business. Can you easily and effectively communicate why you do what you do and the mission and the movement that you are here, that is actually behind the whole reason why you're here, right? If your soul's work is what you're doing in your business, it is deeply connected to why you're here in this lifetime. Now, I know that you have been called to serve the world in a deeper capacity if you are a soulful entrepreneur. There's always that deeper calling of like, okay, I know what I'm here to do, but maybe I feel like I'm just scraping along the surface. I know I can go so much deeper with how I can actively serve the planet through my unique brand of genius. And the answers to those two questions are going to deeply support you with that, right? With uncovering the gold. Because once you've uncovered the gold behind those questions, then you can find stories that illuminate that so that you can show, not tell. And I love talking to my authors about this. How do you show instead of tell? That is one of the great parameters of a great writer, right? Someone who can illuminate, who can show through their creative writing or their speaking, if you're speaking instead of writing, instead of directly telling someone. Now, when you can master the art of doing this through storytelling, there's a few powerful benefits that you experience as well, because storytelling actively connects people at their heart. It's been scientifically proven that when you are hearing a story, receiving a story, listening to a story, there's a part of your brain that is activated that is deeply connected to empathy. And as we know, empathy lives in the heart, right? Empathy lives here. So if you're looking for a strategy to help people shift from their heads back to their hearts so that they're not overanalyzing, overthinking, going into analysis paralysis or comparison, then storytelling is a fabulous way to be able to do that, right? Because we have been trained through many thousands of generations, thousands and thousands and millions of generations to respond empathically to storytelling. If you cast your mind back to when we were living in tribes on the plains, what would we do of an evening? We would gather around the fires and we would share story. It's how we would share, it's how we would teach. It's how we would teach the young. It's how we would impart values. It's how we would impart morals to our community through storytelling. It is in our DNA. In fact, it is so deeply in our DNA that I don't actually believe that there's anything else that we do in business that is more potent and powerful on a DNA genetic level than storytelling. If you look to Hollywood, Bollywood, all of the great big movie industries around the world, you see the power of storytelling, right? Multi-trillion-dollar industries, right? The movies. We love going to the movies. We love getting behind a story and like being immersed in a story and surrendering our life and the intricacies and the challenges of our life to a story, right? So it's very powerful for you to actively realize that you are sitting on a veritable gold mine of stories within your psyche, within your heart. And when you can learn how to share your story in your marketing in a way that actively connects people back to their heart and that illuminates your genius and your experience and your expertise and speaks to the right kind of person, then you're actively bringing forth, calling forth, or magnetizing towards you the right kind of people and repelling the wrong kind of people, right? So another thing that we need to know to be able to craft powerful stories to grow our business. Who is your person? Who is your soulmate client? Who are you speaking to? Now, when we're writing our stories or telling our stories, speaking our stories, we want to know the answer to this question so that we can really tailor the story to be impactful for them. So I'll give you an example, a story that I love to share all the time. You've probably heard me if you've been in my world for 5 minutes, is the story of how I, 20 years ago, 15 years ago, decided to give up my politics degree. I was on a track to becoming a politician because my dad told me I'd be a great politician and I could even be the Prime Minister of Australia one day if I wanted to and if I put my heart there. And so that's what I did. I went to uni and I studied politics and I was like dead fast. I was living in Canberra. I was going to the ANU, the Australian National University, and I was on that track to becoming a politician. And then one day I was on a bus going back home, feeling really bored, feeling really uninspired. feeling and hearing that part of me that was saying, this isn't right for you. You're not here to do this. You're not here to become a politician. You're not here to become a public servant. This is not the right path. And I was driving through Canberra, and Canberra is very manicured. It's the capital city of Australia. It's very manicured. It's very precise. It's been beautifully planned. It looks very like perfect. And I was driving on the bus through these suburbs where beautiful hedges and every house was perfectly manicured. And I was thinking to myself, I had the realization, fuck this. This is not my life. This is not the life that I'm here to live. I'm here to do something different. And I'd been reading a book all about shamanism at the time and all about ceremonial shamanic medicine, plant medicines. And I said to myself, I'm going to go to South America and I'm going to find myself, because this pathway is not the path for me. And so I got home. It happened like that. I was still living with my parents. My mum was cooking dinner. My dad was in the other room in the office. How was your day, Tarsh? She said, and I said, it was great. I've made a really big decision. I'm dropping out of politics. I'm dropping out of my politics degree. And my dad heard what I said and could hear him scooting back in the chair and running down the corridor. You said what? You're doing what? Why? And I said, I'm going to go to South America. I'm going to go to South America and I'm going to discover who I am and what I'm here to do. And what I realized in that time was that everyone in my family had gone through a very particular way of living and particular career path. And, you know, they were very successful, but they'd done things by the book and they'd gone to university and they bought the house and, you know, they'd done a very good job of being successful, but it looked a very particular way. And so when I said to them, yeah, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to do things this way, it was like this huge disruption to the ancestral line. And it took a long time for them to get behind my decision, but eventually they were like, okay, well, the woman knows what she wants and what she's going to do. And so I went to South America. I traveled for 9 months. I found what I was looking for, which was a shaman who was facilitating an ayahuasca ceremony, who was hopefully going to tell me who I was and what I was going to do and what I'm here to be. And the rest is history, as they say, because indeed, in that ayahuasca ceremony, I was shown some very powerful things, some very powerful truths. And my life took a completely different turn after that. Now, I'm not saying you need to go and drink psychedelic brews in the middle of the Amazon in order to find yourself. Please don't take that from my message. My point is that this is a story that I love to share. And I trust that over the last 10 minutes, you've been quite captivated as I share with you this story. Maybe part of you's been like, oh, I'd love to go to South America, or, oh, I can't believe you were doing politics, or, oh, I don't like the sound of that at all. The point is, though, is that as we share our stories and as we really open up our hearts and bring people into our world, there will be some people who will be activated by that. There'll be some people who will see themselves in your story and in your experience. And they'll go, I'm there now. Like, I don't know who I am or what I'm here to do, or I'm following a career path that doesn't feel aligned to me. I'm not listening to my intuition. I resonate with being at that phase in my life. And they will be magnetically drawn towards you. And then there will be other people that will go, I don't like the sound of psychedelics. I don't want to listen to this chick. She might be nuts. What is shamanism? That sounds like voodoo magic, and I don't like the sound of that. And they will repel away from you. And that is what we want. Storytelling helps us to pre-qualify our audience in a very natural and organic way. So as we go through today, I want you to be taking notes. I encourage note-taking. If that's how you like to work. For me, I like to take notes because it helps my brain to remember. What we're going to talk about is how to craft your authentic narrative. Okay, so how to craft a story, a brand story that actively does all of those things, right? That speaks to your people, that shows and illuminates the journey that you've been on and the journey that you guide your people through. And when you have your authentic narrative, and there's a number of different types that you can use in business, then it's like, I almost imagine these stories as like jewels that you put into your necklace, like your imaginary jewels, that you can just pick one off and be like, oh, I'm gonna use this story today to illuminate this particular teaching point. So I like to have a series of different stories, different jewels in my necklace that I have in my back pocket or around my neck that I like to use to be able to do that, right? So that I can ad lib and share stories in my teaching. So it helps people once again to shift from the head and down to the heart, so they can be more receptive to me, they can connect more deeply to me, and they can be drawn into my world, right? There's a few things we need to do first. We need to be comfortable with being authentic and vulnerable. Now, this is something I talk about a lot with my authors, because I wholeheartedly encourage people to share or to write their stories in a way that is real, in a way that is authentic, in a way that goes deeper than just skating along the surface. And in order to do that, we need to be authentic and we need to be comfortable being vulnerable. We need to show the world who we really are. We need to show our humanness, right? Now, there's often a bit of work that we need to do first, not always, but often there is, because people can have big traumas around being vulnerable and big stories around how people just want to see me in my power. People just want to see me as that superwoman, as that professional, as that person who's going out to kill the world, not kill the world, but you know what I mean, save the world. But actually, I believe that it is being able to, the power actually resides in being able to bare your soul, show your humanness, show your people that you are a human and that you go through ups and downs, but that you are able to ultimately share from an empowered perspective and ultimately empower your audience. So what I want you to do is I want you to take a breath. I want you to close your eyes. And just for a moment, feel your feet on the floor. And I want you to just imagine your energy dropping all the way down to your sit bones and to your pelvis. So you're bringing your energy down into the hips, into close to the sacral, which is where we create. And I want you to imagine your life is like a great tapestry. Your life up until this point is like a beautiful tapestry. And each thread is so important because it helps weave the greater picture. And if you imagine that each individual thread is a story, is a part of your life, is a micro chapter, and how every single story and narrative and experience weaves together to form the whole. And now if you think about the career choice that your career, your business, what you do currently, and all of the amazing experiences you bring to the table, all of the incredible learnings, all of the great modalities that you've studied, or the brilliant transformational potential that you offer your clients, and how you wouldn't have that potential if you hadn't gone through what you'd gone through. I want you to just get a real clear sense of that your life has been divinely guided for you to experience things along the way, great big traumas, little t, big T traumas, great highs, big lows, so that you can do what you do now with mastery, because you have mastery. This is your life's work. You have mastery over what you do. You've lived it and you have embodied it. And then if you cast your mind back and ask your subconscious to show you or offer you or let you feel a moment in time from your past that is deeply connected to the work that you currently do now. What is that moment? Maybe it was a big turning point in your life where you realize, like me, like that you're meant for more and that you're here to do something bigger than what you're currently doing. Maybe it was the moment you met your first mentor or you studied your first modality. Maybe it was a great breakdown, the breakdown before the breakthrough, as we say with the Threshold book. Maybe it was a threshold moment of its own. But I want you to step into that experience, into that memory, like drop yourself into the middle of it and get a sense of the richness of that precise moment in time. What was happening? How are you feeling? Look around, like what's going on in your reality back then, in that moment, in that movie, if you will. How did you feel? Hyper dive into the senses. What were you hearing? What were you seeing? What were you tasting? What were you feeling? And then notice the rich sensory information that's available as you do that. And sensory information comes from the senses. So whenever you're writing a powerful story, you want to really be able to dive into these senses. What did it feel like? What did it see? What did it look like? What did it hear like? What did it taste like? And then notice the journey, the bridge, the gap between where you were then and where you are now. I call this the golden thread. So what is the connection between that moment in time and the work you currently do now? How does that moment in time connect to the work you currently do now? What's the moral of this story? What did you learn? Now we want to think about your soulmate clients, right? And what is it that they need to learn that you're teaching them, that you're imparting to them through your content, through your ungated free content or transformational workshops or lives or trainings? What is it that you want them to learn? What is the epiphany you want them to have? What is the mindset shift you desire for them to have that's going to help them see you and your work as being the most important and powerful next step for them? And then how can you facilitate that epiphany through this story? Now, I've given you quite a few steps there. This is a very powerful process to go through. I call this uncovering the golden thread that connects your journey and your story with your transformational work. And when you can follow those steps, you might want to go back and even write them down. When you can follow those steps and write them down, create them as a story, making sure that you're speaking to your soulmate client, it's steeped in your values and your mission and movement, and you're very clear on the moral or the epiphany that you desire to evoke within your reader or your listener. And crafting a story from that place is going to deeply, deeply serve your marketing. But when it comes to storytelling, these are the important things, right? It's the sensorial information, it's the emotions, it's the details, right? It's like dropping the reader into the middle of this experience and building it up around them. Every single time I write a piece of storytelling as marketing, it always goes incredibly well. I get lots of comments. I get lots of people reaching out to me in Messenger. I get lots of people engaging with my work, right? But the importance is that we need to be able to make it vivid and make it engaging. And we need to be able to have emotional resonance. So how do we create emotional resonance? Firstly, we need to know how do you want your people to feel when they come in contact with your business and your brand? It's a really powerful question. How do you want people to feel when they come in contact with your business and your brand? Now, this is going to be very connected to your values, typically. What are your greatest values? So for me, one of my greatest values is connection. Hi, Lenore. Connection. My business is steeped in that. My life is steeped in connection. It's something that I value a lot. So I want them to feel connected, whether that's connected to themselves, connected to me, connected to the movement and the mission that I'm spearheading. Another value that's really important to me is freedom. So I want them to have a sense of possibility, a sense of freedom, a sense that they don't need to do things by the book, a sense that they can shake off the chains and the shackles of the way that they've done things before, so that they can actively create the life that they want, or the business that they want, or the book that they want, right? Freedom is a great value of mine. And then the third one that is very connected to me is love, right? I want my people to feel loved, not judged, non-judgmental, but accepted, seen, valued, loved. So how do you want your people to feel? Hi, Taya. Great. Talia. Sorry. Talia. Talia. Oh my God, I always struggle with your name. I'm so sorry. How do you want people to feel when they encounter you? And then how can you share this, like the energy of connection, the energy of freedom, the energy of love, of non-judgment, the energy of acceptance in your storytelling so that you can create emotional resonance? This is how we create a deeper connection with our audience, right? Is to connect with them on the level of the heart. So we have to make them feel something. And let me tell you, if you don't feel anything when you write it, they're not going to feel anything when they read it. If you don't feel anything when you speak it, they're not going to feel anything when they hear it. And I have this conversation with my authors all the time. And it goes a little like this. The story that you're most terrified to share is often the story that you most need to share. We all know when we're speaking or writing or creating content and we're just skating along the surface. We're just like doing it because we have to. There's no heart in it. We've all been there. We've all done it. Got to be consistent. Got to show up every day. Got to be seen every day. Got to put something out every day. But I'm not actually connected to what it is that I'm talking about. I'm not actually feeling anything. I'm just spewing out. I'm just adding to the noise of the online space, really, at the end of the day. You need to feel it for them to feel it. And so I always run, when I'm working with my authors and my clients, I always get them to run it through this filter. Did you feel anything when you wrote it? Or did you just play it safe? Most of the time, we're not feeling it 100%, right? We might feel it 20%. But, oh, yeah, I felt something. It'll do. The most powerful pieces of writing I have ever done, I've had my knees shaking underneath the table as I'm like, can I really say that? Can I really share that? Is that really going to work? Can I really bare my soul that much? And the answer is always yes. I'll tell you a story. A few years ago, I participated in a collaborative book. It was called The Younger Self Letters. And the whole strategy behind this book was that we were going to get it to USA Today bestseller. And in order for us to do that, we needed to market the heck out of it. It needed to be bought tens of thousands of times. And it was this big 4-week-long strategy marketing campaign that we employed to get the book to USA Today bestseller, which we did, which is an amazing experience. And I had in my head the most beautifully manicured story that I was going to write because I didn't want to miss out on all of that amazing visibility. My story was going to reach tens of thousands of people, and I wanted to make sure it was written really well. It was written perfectly. It was written really professionally. It was really polished. It was the right story. Yeah. And so every time I sat down to write the damn thing, it didn't happen. I was like pulling teeth. I was distracting. I was avoiding. I'd sit down, and it was actually one of the most frustrating experiences of my life. As the deadline loomed closer, and I'm like, shit, I got to write this chapter. It's not happening, because I knew that the story, well, actually, it was a letter. The idea is that you write a letter to your past self, right? Letters to my younger self. And the reason was because I knew that the story that I was wanting to speak to, that I was being called to speak to, was the story that I was most ashamed of. It was the story about how I navigated postnatal depression and suicidal ideation, and how I was in that bathroom floor moment where I was about to do something that was going to be irreversible. And I was terrified to share that story because I was so worried about how it was going to make me look. I was so worried that I was going to lose credibility. Oh, she's mentally unstable. I was so worried that people weren't going to see me as professional. How could she write that? How could she publish that? But I had to write it. It was the story I knew I had to write. And so I did. And it was the most painful and powerful experience of my life. Reconnecting back with that version of me and telling her the wisdom that I learned as a result of moving through that experience. It was the story I was most terrified to share, but it was the story that I had to share because it set me free. And it deeply connected with my people. Like I had messages, like so many, tens and tens and tens, probably over, I don't know, 80 messages from people after that book was released saying, thank you. I'm there now. I've been there. No one talks about this enough. And I was moved by reading your story. This is the power of storytelling. But as long as we feel something when we write it, it's pointless otherwise. This is sacred storytelling. If we don't feel anything when we write it, they're not going to feel anything when they read it. And the sacredness is all about dropping them into the heart, right? And bearing the sensation, as one of my beautiful mentors loves to say, of vulnerability. It's painful to be vulnerable. It's painful to the ego. It's painful to the lower self. It's painful to the human to be perceived as being vulnerable and to sit in that space of vulnerability. But we have to do it. We have to bear the sensation. It's all too easy to be like, I'm not going to write that. I'm going to do something else and put it to the side. It's never going to have the same effect, especially when it comes to sacred storytelling. So, emotional resonance. That's my point that I'm getting to, right? You need to be able to connect and resonate with them at the emotional level, understanding what it is that you are here to impart, the values that you stand for, the non-negotiables that you call in with your people, right? It's like I work with clients who are willing to bear the sensation of being vulnerable, no matter how painful it is. They are willing to move through that experience in their writing so that we can create the most phenomenal book, the most phenomenal piece of content, the most phenomenal program, non-negotiable of mine. And then, of course, we need to be able to make it relatable. And making it relatable, making your story relatable is very connected to what we've just spoken about, but it's understanding your clients, understanding their journey, understanding where they're at, understanding what they need to learn in order to facilitate phenomenal change, phenomenal epiphanies that's going to have them see you as the best mentor, the best healer, the best strategist, the best publisher, the best whatever it is for them. So having a deep understanding of your soulmate clients at a deep, intimate level. And 8 times out of 10, 9 times out of 10, they are on a very similar journey to you, just a few steps before. Which is why storytelling is so powerful for business building, because you can illuminate how you move through this thing that you move through at the same time as activating their hearts, forging deeper connections, and ultimately leaning into more intimacy with your community. And I'm a big believer, it's another value of mine, intimacy. We have to go first. So when it comes to bringing all of that together, I've just given you a lot. We want to have one more thing that we want to look at, and that is the power of writing intuitively and strategically. I want to speak to this to wrap us up, because if we're doing one or the other, it's not going to work as powerfully. I see intuition and strategy as being the yin to the yang, the masculine to the feminine, or the feminine to the masculine, depending on which way you like to look at it. So knowing how to write intuitively, how to open up your channel so that you are calling it through rather than writing it from here, feeling something, having it come through in a bigger, bolder way, at the same time as knowing the strategy, knowing who you're speaking to, knowing your values, knowing the offers that you're promoting, knowing the structure that you're going to write inside of. We need to be able to do both simultaneously, or even dance between both. Intuition, strategy. Intuition, strategy. This is how I build my business. This is what I teach to my clients, my strategy clients. We need to be able to do both. If we're too far in the masculine, too far in the strategic, too far in the logic, too far in the structure, it's not going to resonate. It's going to feel bland. It's going to be beige, vanilla. If we're too far in the intuitive and we don't have any structure at all, it's not going to resonate, because it's going to be like a big pond without any any boundaries to keep it together, right? We need both the masculine and the feminine in order for our works, our writing, our copy, our story, our book to be able to resonate as powerfully as possible. So I always like to dance between the two. And this is a great practice to connect the right and the left hemispheres of the brain, right? There's lots of different things that we can do to do this. One thing that I love to do is simple. So I'll put my hands out like this. So I'll connect them together and I'll move it up like this. And at the same time, I will cross. I'll look at what hand is on top and I will cross the opposite foot over that hand. And I'll take some breaths. And what this does is it actively brings together the two, it brings together the two hemispheres of the brain more completely. And I'll call forth my support team, my intuitive support team. I'll activate my inner masculine, I like to call him my inner magic man. And I will ask for both of these frequencies to be balanced well, to be in balance, essentially. And I do this before I write because it helps, like I said, it helps to bring the two aspects, the anima and the animus, as Jung like to call, or the left and the right hemispheres of the brain together so that we are balancing, we are perfectly polarized between the masculine and the feminine, the strategic and the intuitive. This is a really powerful, like, little hack that I love to teach my authors because it helps us to stay in that balanced frame of mind in order for us to be able to write the most powerfully and effectively, or speak our story in the most powerful and effective of ways. Now, I'm going to share with you 4 different writing prompts that you can use to take what we've spoken about today and actually go out and write something and create some storytelling that's actually going to help you with your marketing. Okay, so the first one, reflect on a pivotal moment of your life or career that shaped your path and ignited your passion for your profession. What emotions and thoughts arise as you recall this experience? That's a really powerful one. It's very connected to what we spoke about before, the golden thread that connects your story with your business. Excuse me, lots of energy moving. Your story with your transformational work. What is that pivotal moment in your life or career that shaped your path and ignited your passion for your profession? Can you follow the steps that I shared with you before and write about that? The second one, consider the challenges or obstacles you encountered on your professional journey. How did you overcome these? And what did you learn from these experiences? We all love a good hero's journey. We all love to be connected to the hero's journey. Yeah. And I'm sure most of you will know what that is. Joseph Campbell, the great mythologist who uncovered the monomyth, the one great myth that is enshrined in all myths, the hero's journey. And so it's about overcoming challenge. It's about the underdog rising up, right? It's Harry Potter defeating Lord Voldemort. It's Luke Skywalker defeating the other guy. What's his name? Darth Vader. It's the story of overcoming challenge and rising to greet and to meet the occasion and emerging more powerful, more embodied, more empowered than ever before. The great monomyth, the great hero's journey. That prompt speaks directly to that. Consider the challenges or obstacles you encountered on your journey. How did you overcome them and what did you learn from these experiences? Number 3, think about the core values and beliefs that drive your work. How do these values align with your authentic self and contribute to your professional growth or contribute to the coaching container or the mentoring container or the healing container that you offer your clients? Values and beliefs, very connected to what we've spoken about today as well. You need to know what your core values are so that you can illuminate them through your writing, so that you can call in people who also resonate with the same. And the 4th one, describe a moment when you felt a deep connection with your audience, clients, or colleagues. What made this connection special and how did it influence your approach to your business? Connection. Connection is everything. Connection is everything. So I trust that you have, Talia, you said connection is also central to my energy and my work. Yeah, absolutely. For most women and men, but particularly for women, we want to feel connected. Actually, humans want to feel connected. We do. So my loves, I'm sharing with you, there are two amazing multi-author collaborative book projects that I am currently putting out expressions of interest for. And I'm going to share them with you because there might be some people who would like to delve deeper into the world of publishing, into the world of writing to grow their business. My publishing projects incorporate a lot of business strategy, and we really explore how we can use the book to increase our reach and to drive sales to our business and to connect with our people on a deeper level, everything we've spoken about today. So there are two books and they are very specific. You will definitely, yes or definitely no, resonate or not. The first one is going to be called Between Worlds, Bridging the Gap Between Heaven and Earth. And we're calling in spiritual entrepreneurs, spiritual healers, psychics, direct channels, people who actively channel heaven on earth to share their story and to teach their expertise inside this book. And then the second one is called Wild Eros, The Power of Pleasure. And we're calling in experts in the sex and relationship space, sexual, somatic sexology, tantra, yoni massage, erotic photography, people in the pleasure space, people who really work in the embodied somatic, like the intersection between sexuality and spirituality, essentially. So you may or may not be curious about them. If you are, please reach out and I'll share more info. If you know someone who you'd be like, that person would be great for that book, then reach out to them and let them know. And if they'd like to know more, you're welcome to put them in a three-way conversation with me. I have to go now because I'm about to go and do another workshop over in my private Facebook group. You're welcome to join me over there if you want a double dose of my magic. That workshop is going to be called the Connection, Clients and Cash Masterclass. And we're going to be delving into how to increase your profit in a way that feels really connected, that's calling in all of the right people, your soulmate clients, as I like to call them, and that is actively turning on your cash flow. So you're welcome to join me over there. Just say, I want to join the second masterclass, and I'll send you the link to join the Facebook group. It kicks off in 40 minutes. Welcome to the Threshold Summit. I trust that you've enjoyed this masterclass. It's been an honor and a great privilege to be here, sharing my magic with you. Please stay tuned. We have another amazing, amazing author and healer speaking this evening, Rachel Leah Davis. She's speaking on the soul's compass, connecting to your inner voices. Her work is divine, truly amazing. And the timetable is available in the group somewhere. I should pin it to the top of the group. I'm going to do that now. Thank you, my loves. It's been so great. Oh, Rachel, you're here. It's so great to be here. I hope that you enjoy the rest of the summit. Take care. Bye for now.